Hi, so I'm going to be talking about registration with the licensing board as an intern in Oregon. And the first thing I'll be talking about is the steps of registration, kind of going through those, and then talking about the different forms that you would need to fill out, and then just a little other information at the end. All right, so the first step of registration is to meet all the registration requirements in effect at the time the application is submitted. So it needs to be all done by that time. And to look more at the requirements, I have the website there, and you can go and look at the OAR 833 Division 50, and it kind of talks about those more in detail. The second step is the request registration on board approved forms. So you just want to make sure you fill out the right forms that they will accept. The third step is to submit a professional disclosure statement for board approval as part of the application. So we've talked a little bit about a PDS in class, and we've done one, so you should be a little bit familiar with that. The fourth step to registration is submit an application fee of $215. You may think, ooh, that's a good amount of money, but hey, it used to be $225, so you're saving $10. Woohoo! That's always good, saving a little money. The fifth step is to meet the education requirements for licensure according to one or both of the following. So the first one is an LPC, or a licensed professional counselor. The first of the requirements would be a counseling program approved by the Council for Accreditation of Counseling and Related Educational Programs, or CACREP. You're probably familiar with that. The second is a counseling program approved by the Council on Rehabilitation Education, or CORE. And both of those need at least 2 semester credit hours or 3 quarter hours of coursework in diagnosis of mental disorders. The third would be a program at an institution of higher learning that was accredited by a regional accrediting agency. And the fourth is a foreign program that has been evaluated by a credentialing body that is recognized by the Board of Oregon. And submission of foreign degree evaluation and costs of the foreign degree qualification determination are the responsibility of the applicant. So make sure if that applies to you, you know it's your responsibility. And to see more information on that, you can look at the OAR 833 Division 30 in Section 11, and that gives you more information. I have the website there for you, which will be helpful. If you're not doing LPC but you want to be a licensed marriage and family therapist, the requirements for education are all pretty much the same, except for CORE. Instead of CORE, their program needs to be accredited by the Commission on Accreditation for Marriage and Family Therapy Education, or COMFT. Okay, we won't say that. So instead of CORE, it would be by that association instead. All right, and the other 3 are the same, the CACREP and the other 2. And you can look at more information on those on the OAR 833 Division 40 in Section 11 on there. All right, the 6th step would be to agree to complete supervised clinical experience hours to meet the total number of hours required for licensure, which is in the state of Oregon 2,400 hours. But 2,000 of those need to be post-degree, so after you graduate, but up to 400 can count from your degree program. So that's nice. All right, and then the 7th step is you just need to abide by the board's laws and rules. And we've talked a little bit about those in class, but you can look at those more in detail at that web page that I have there, and it's really easy to get to. All right, so let's talk about some of those board-approved forms we talked about a second ago. The first form is Form 2, which is actually the application, and that fee is the $215 fee. And you need to mail that application and the fee to the address I have there for you, and make sure that they get that. And the website is where that form is. That's board approved, so it's really easy to get there. Just click on there, it'll bring you right to that site. The second form is Form 2A, which is the Degree Program Direct Client Contact Hours form. The intern must fill in their name and the name of the graduate program or department and sign a waiver for release of information. Request a school representative to complete the form. You may discuss your expectations with that person, but the completed form must be returned. Must be returned to the intern in a sealed envelope with the attesting individual signing across the seal. So that's really important. Once that school representative gets it and they fill it out, they must seal it and sign it, and it cannot be opened. And of the 2,400 client contact hours required for licensure, up to 400 can be earned up in the program. You can count for that. And that clinical experience should be on the transcript. And for that form, you can just go straight to the web page that I have there listed for you. All right, the third form is Form 5, which is your PDS. And registered interns must provide clients with a copy of a board-approved professional disclosure statement before providing counseling or therapy. So make sure you have that done and approved before you start any work with clients. A PDS must include the following information about the intern, and I'll let you guys review that. And we have talked about that in class, so you're familiar with it. The professional disclosure statement must be accessible to people with disabilities. Registered interns will assist their clients to understand the information in the PDS. So it's your responsibility to make sure you help them to know what they're signing and what they're agreeing to. Whenever an intern changes the PDS, the new statement must be provided to the board for approval. So before you can use that new one, make sure that it is approved by the board before you show that to clients and to have them start signing it. All right. The fourth form you will need to fill out is a Form 6A, which is the graduate degree information along with your course descriptions, and that's completed by your college. However, the note to that is, if your graduate program is KCREP, CORE, or accredited by the Commission on Accreditation for Marriage and Family Therapy Education, then you don't have to fill out that form. So that's great. If you graduate from Western, you get to skip that form. Woohoo! That's exciting. The fifth form is Form 7, which is the Intern Supervised Clinical Experience Plan. Applicants for intern registration must submit an intern plan in the form and manner required by the board. The intern plan must include information to show how the supervised clinical experience hours will be accrued and that the activities will meet board requirements for professional counselor and/or marriage and family therapist. And below, I have all the requirements of what needs to be in that plan, and you can take time to review that. An approved intern plan may cover up to 3 separate practices, such as private practice and employment by 2 different autonomous programs. To maintain registration, the intern must meet the conditions in the approved plan. The intern must carry out the registration plan as approved. So whatever the board saw and they approved, you must follow that. And if you make any changes to that plan, you'll have to get that board approved before you start practicing that new plan. And that form is on that webpage I have listed there too. The sixth form is a criminal background check and fingerprints. All application forms, fees, and background check information must be submitted to the board before your application is considered complete. So those 3 things are very important. However, all the forms are important, but make sure those 3 are done. And that's really easy. You just go on that web page, follow the instructions. It'll show you how to schedule an appointment, and it's very straightforward. And the last thing is your transcript. So just have your college send over and mail your transcript to the Board of Oregon, and just have that requested. Just request that at your school, and they can do that for you. That's pretty easy. Just know all forms and fees must be completed and submitted to the board before you can begin accruing supervised hours towards licensure. So make sure you do that, because it would be a bummer down the road to find out that some of your hours aren't included and counted towards that. Just a few more helpful bits of information is the initial registration as an intern will be effective when the applicant completes the registration process that includes approval of completed request and internship plan. So make sure you get that all in and approved before you can actually start that and actually be registered as an intern. If you're reapplying, applicants who reapply may transfer direct client hours accrued under a board-approved plan to their new plan. So that's nice. And just a few bits of helpful information at the end I have there. You can kind of look at those web pages yourself, but one that's super helpful I want to point out is Lonnie Knotts. We kind of heard from him a few weeks ago, and we heard a presentation he did on one of our videos in class. or on the class webpage. And he is very helpful. I've emailed him during this research process, asked him questions, and he's gets back to you really quick, and he's really helpful and nice, and he welcomes all questions. So no, he is a great resource to contact during this time. All right, well, I hope you've learned a little something more about registering as an intern in Oregon and that it was helpful to you, and I hope you have a wonderful week.